Good evening, everyone. We couldn't be together in person this year to celebrate the winners of the Sidewalk Poetry Contest, but we are celebrating nonetheless. Welcome to the 2020 Sidewalk Poetry Capstone event. My name is Alyssa Melby, and I serve as an Arts and Culture Commissioner, and I'm proud to serve as your host for this evening's celebration. Sidewalk Poetry in Northfield began in 2011 as an extension of an idea artist Marcus Young pioneered in St. Paul. It was initially supported by the Friends and Foundation of the Northfield Public Library, the Streetscape Task Force, and the Northfield City Council. Since 2012, and including this year, the Southeastern Minnesota Arts Council has provided grants for the project thanks to a legislative appropriation from the Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund, made possible by the voters of Minnesota. Since then, over 88 poems have been installed in nearly 300 locations in the community, imprinted in Northfield sidewalks, both around our downtown, in residential areas, wherever new sidewalks are installed and old ones repaired. Further, if residents have a favorite poem, they can rent the imprint to install in cement work on their personal property. The body of poems collected through the 10 years of sidewalk poetry are expressions of individual creative imaginations, as well as reflections of our community and the value that Northfield places on the arts as a cornerstone of our lives. This year, we had 57 submissions, and while we celebrate all the winners tonight, we also give thanks and honor the work of those who were not chosen for contributing to the cultural vitality of our community. Without all those of you who submitted your work, there would be no project and no poems for any of us to enjoy. How will this event work? The virtual capstone celebration this year offered us a creative opportunity to not only have the poets read their poems, but for us to show you where some of their imprints are located in the community. The poems were installed this year in various streets on the east side and along 3rd Street West. Each poet will briefly introduce themselves before reading their poems.
I'm Anna Bergstrom. I'm originally from Minneapolis, but I will be a senior at St. Olaf, so I call Northfield my home for most of the year. And I wrote this poem on my way back from the state fair a couple years ago, and it's just about the change. The end of the summer is always a bittersweet time for me, especially when coming to St. Olaf at the end of the summer. So that's what I tried to capture in this little bit of poetry. The galaxy flips its pages, and I remember a night sky is still a blue sky.
Well, I'm from Northfield. My name's Danielle Dasheur. I'm originally a Hall. I grew up here, born and raised, went to school here. I did this poem in the sidewalk the first year they did it. My mom had passed away, and it was kind of getting through it and getting over it and dealing with it. And of course I didn't win, but I've tried a few times over the years, and now I finally won, so it's really exciting, and my poem's just kind of a funny take on how life is. So that's about it. Happiness, joy, smiles, and a fresh dill pickle to balance everything out.
My name is Heidi Magnuson, and I've lived in Northfield full-time since last August, so 2019. My career has pretty much been a freelance writer, other kinds of writing too, but I call myself a freelance writer, although I'm pretty much retired right now. The inspiration for my poem is actually the sidewalk poetry itself, and I just like the whole concept of poetry in concrete speaking to the people walking by. So the poem is actually about sidewalk poetry, the whole concept, plus it actually is about the poem itself. Behind these words lies a wriggly idea that stretched and crawled and ate soil, lots and lots of soil, until one day it pushed to the surface a poem. My husband and I immediately noticed the little libraries that were in Northfield. We have always been big believers in libraries, and these little libraries, these little free libraries represent community, and we also just think they're fun because they're very Minnesota, being that they are on a stick. So that is the inspiration for this poem. Memoir or mystery? Fiction or history? Classic tale? Recent sale? What will I find? What will I pick from the free little library stuck on a stick?
My name is Steve McCown. I've lived in Northfield for 4 years now. I'm a retired high school English teacher. I taught full-time high school English in southeastern California and part-time English at Arizona Western College in Yuma. I moved here. I always knew about Northfield, a great town. My sister went to St. Olaf College, and one of the other things and I knew how beautiful it was, one of the other things that attracted me was just seeing the sidewalk poems. I thought it was really nice. And that was just one of many reasons why I picked a great city to live in, and this is an amazing city. What inspired my poem was simply going to the dump. I don't know why, but dumps seemed to inspire me. I've written several poems about dumps, and when I took the pumpkins out there and put them into the leaves, I saw them sinking down, and I thought, well, that seemed like an apt subject for a poem, so that's really the story behind it, what inspired it. Carvers at the dump, we part ways with pumpkins. Their faces, hollow eyes, chiseled teeth, sardonic grins, sinking into leaves, haunting waste. The thing that inspired me about my poem was my faulty cleaning in the winter. I was out on the front porch and I noticed that I'd missed cobwebs in the corner, but they were full of ice crystals. I thought, well, that's kind of neat. That's an apt subject for a poem. And it was seeing that ice crystals in cobwebs that inspired me. Old cobwebs that avoided the broom hang around our porch corners. Yet in winter, these gray tatters whiten and billow, snaring ice crystals like dream catchers.
My name is Drew Weiss, and I'm a psychologist, and we came here 14 years ago so I could work at Carleton and finish up 20 years of working with college students, and now I'm going to start a private practice in town. And the poem I wrote is sort of a reminder to me. It's based on Heraclitus's saying, you can never step into the same river twice, and I think my first thought is to go into looking at the river and how it's constantly changing, and I wrote the haiku to remind myself that I am also changed. Heraclitus haiku. Enter, then leave, then enter the river again. New river, new you.
If you're interested in learning more about the history of the project, as well as read past winning poems, please visit the library's link listed on your screen. In addition, you can use the interactive map to read, listen, and see where poems are located in our community. We encourage you to follow the Arts and Culture Commission's Facebook page to stay tuned and learn more about our current work and initiatives in the city. Like what you see about the ACC's work? Consider joining the ACC and serving your community. We currently have 2 open appointments on the commission, and we welcome you to join us. In the fall, we'll also be conducting a special Sidewalk Poetry Contest exclusively for poems in Spanish to coincide with the Northfield Public Library's Hispanic Heritage Month. Please share the word with Spanish language poets and encourage them to apply. The submission period will run from September 15th through November 2nd. Many people and organizations help support this event in a variety of ways. Thanks again to the Southeastern Minnesota Arts Council, CMAC, for their generous $10,000 grant that is thanks to a legislative appropriation from the Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund. Speaking of the legislature, let me recognize Senator Rich Draheim and Representative Todd Lippert for their ongoing support of the Legacy Fund and of the arts in general. Other financial support has come from the Friends and Foundation of the Northfield Public Library and from individual private donations from Northfield area residents. The City of Northfield provides us in-kind infrastructural support. Especially, I want to acknowledge Teresa Jensen and Kathy Rush from the library, who serve as the Commission's liaisons to the City Council. Steve Moss from the library, who filmed the poets. Kara Trigstad from marketing for your help in publicizing Sidewalk Poetry. Angelica Linder for translating documents and tonight's program for our Spanish-speaking community members to participate. The Engineering and Public Works departments, particularly Sean Simonson and Brianna Parman, for installing the poems and keeping our interactive map up to date. And Sam Temple from the Cable Public Access Department for putting together this evening's Capstone video. Thanks as well to Mayor Rhonda Pownell, the City Council, and City Administrator Ben Martake for their continued support of the Arts and Culture Commission's work. Thanks also to the Northfield News and KYMN 95.1 The One for featuring the poets and the poems in their pages and on the air, and for publicizing the project. Thanks also to the 5-member jury who selected the 10 winning poems this year. Judging is a totally blind process. The judges have no idea who has submitted which poems. This last year, the judges included Diane LeBlanc, Director of Writing at St. Olaf College and a published poet, Melanie Castillo, Library Staff at the Northfield Public Library, Mar Valdecantos, Translator for the Northfield Public School District, Visual Artist and past winning poet, Michaela Schmidt, City Planner for the City of Northfield, and Rob Hardy, Published Poet and Northfield's Poet Laureate. Lastly, thank you to you. We are grateful to all of you for turning in to the virtual event tonight. If you are able, please go to the ACC's Facebook page and click on the link for a survey about Sidewalk Poetry and the Capstone event. This survey is a requirement for our CMAC grant, and we'd be grateful for your time and feedback. Thanks again for joining us and for your support of Sidewalk Poetry in Northfield.